What if I told you that a single, secret meeting, held in the dark of night, away from the prying eyes of the public, helped save the world from total destruction? A meeting so crucial that, had it failed, the course of history would have been completely different. Today we uncover the story behind Winston Churchill's covert encounter that changed the fate of nations and could very well be one of the most pivotal moments of World War II. This is a story you won't find in textbooks, a moment of high-stakes diplomacy that might surprise you. The year is 1940. Europe is engulfed in the fires of World War II. The Nazis, under Adolf Hitler, have already swept across Europe, and Britain stands alone against the tide of aggression. The Battle of Britain is raging in the skies above, and on the ground, the Nazi forces seem unstoppable. The world is on the brink of a catastrophe, one that could lead to the complete collapse of democracy. At this moment of global crisis, there was one man whose leadership would prove to be the last line of defense for freedom. That man was Winston Churchill. But it wasn't just Churchill's speeches or his famous resolve that made the difference. It was a secret meeting with a foreign power that would ultimately change the course of the war. This meeting, often overlooked in history, was a turning point in the fight against Nazi Germany. Churchill's decision to hold it would become the foundation of a partnership that helped tip the scales in favor of the Allies. But what was this meeting, and why was it so important? It all began with a man named President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The United States was still officially neutral in the war, but behind the scenes Roosevelt was already secretly supporting the Allies. He knew that if Britain fell, the United States would eventually be dragged into the conflict, and the future of democracy would be at stake. Churchill, fully aware of the dire situation, knew he needed American support to survive the war. But he also understood that Roosevelt, while sympathetic, was still hesitant to fully commit to the war effort. There was a catch. Roosevelt wanted something in return. He wanted Britain to open up and share its war strategy, secrets, and resources. It was a high-risk move, but Churchill realized that without this partnership, Britain's chances of surviving Hitler's onslaught were slim. So, Churchill made a decision that would alter history. He arranged for a secret meeting with Roosevelt in August of 1941, away from the public eye, away from the press, and away from the bureaucracy of government. It was a daring move, a gamble, but it was one he had to take. The location? Placentia Bay, Newfoundland. No crowds, no cameras, just two of the world's most powerful leaders, sitting face to face, deciding the future of the war. But the stakes were higher than anyone could imagine. What happened in that room would not only shape the outcome of World War II, but would lay the foundation for the post-war world order. This meeting, known as the Atlantic Charter, was more than just a discussion of military tactics. It was a declaration of principles, a pledge to uphold democracy, self-determination, and freedom. Churchill and Roosevelt agreed on the core values that would guide their nations through the war, and the resulting charter became the blueprint for the future United Nations. But beyond the words, the meeting solidified something even more vital: a military alliance between the United States and the United Kingdom. Roosevelt, in a dramatic shift in policy, agreed to provide Britain with the much-needed resources, supplies, and military support to continue the fight. The U.S. would no longer sit on the sidelines. But here's the shocking part. This secret meeting was not just about military strategy or alliances. Churchill's real genius lay in his ability to see the bigger picture. He knew that securing American support meant more than just winning the war. It was about ensuring that democracy and freedom had a fighting chance against tyranny. Had this meeting failed, there's no telling how the war might have unfolded. Without the United States' entry into the conflict, Britain would have likely been forced to negotiate with Nazi Germany. The Axis powers could have dominated Europe, and the global balance of power would have shifted forever. In the weeks following the meeting, Roosevelt took the case to the American public. The Lend-Lease Act was passed, and the United States began sending massive amounts of war supplies to Britain and other allied nations. The tide of war slowly began to turn. By December 1941, just months after Churchill and Roosevelt's historic meeting, the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor brought the United States into the war. With America now fully engaged, the balance tipped decisively in favor of the Allies. The war was far from over, but the groundwork for victory had been laid in that one secret meeting. So, how did this secret meeting save the world? It wasn't just about one battle or one weapon. It was about forging the strongest military and diplomatic alliance in modern history. It was about creating a unified front that could push back against tyranny. The meeting solidified the partnership that helped defeat Nazi Germany, ultimately leading to the liberation of Europe and the downfall of Hitler's regime. What happened in that hidden meeting is a testament to the power of leadership, foresight, and courage in the face of unimaginable challenges. Churchill, with his unwavering resolve, knew that without this alliance, the world as we know it could have been lost. That meeting, and the bond forged in secrecy, helped change the course of history and save the world from the horrors of tyranny.